Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 15 of Season 3 of the F123 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here in Monza. The Temple of Speed once more returns inside the game. Of course, if you missed out yesterday's video from Zandvoort, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. Of course, we've been and done the summer break here inside F123, and we have still got a lot of races to go. 9 races left, including this one today. 4 weekends worth of sprint races as well. There is a lot to get through before Season 3 is done and dusted there. Championship-wise at the moment, Sergio Perez there still with a 28-point lead over his teammate Max Verstappen. How it still feels a bit at the moment like Perez is trying to hang on to the World Championship lead rather than building it, but he has more than been a match for Max Verstappen throughout most of this season there. We're in 7th, just 6 points ahead of my teammate Alex Albon, slowly but surely trying to close in the gap to Mercedes and Ferrari in the second half of the campaign. But yeah, obviously Zandvoort wasn't a particularly brilliant race for us. I'm hoping, however, that Italy, we can fight for the win again. Well, qualifying day then here from the Temple of Speed. And high speed is exactly what we're looking for. However, pretty certain, yeah, there is a limitation inside F123. You cannot get a car to go faster than 227 miles an hour down the front straight. I don't know why that seems to be the case. I don't know whether it might be slightly more with slipstream, but I'm actually running a bit more downforce than I originally intended to, just for the fact that, well, if I'm going to reach the limiter anyway, I may as well have a bit more sticking power through the corners. It does seem rather odd. The 8th gear is, you know, not necessarily short, but shorter than you'd expect it to be. Of course, you know, you can't change gear ratios in real life Formula 1 anymore, but, you know, you would have expected with some of these massively upgraded cars, I reckon, you know, with the right slipstream, things like that, you can probably get close to 240 miles an hour with one of these upgraded cars. I managed to hit 240 back on F1 2016, which still remains my personal record in an F1 car in any of the Cody's F1 games. But yeah, it just seems like there is the potential to get more straight line speed out of this thing. It will reach the limiter without any slipstream off another car, but first run though here in Q1, gone out on a set of mediums just like I did in Zandvoort. Still, yep, scared of jinxing myself if I don't get the lap hooked up, but down in towards the final corner. Let's see what first time we can get on the board. Obviously got a lot of downforce, a lot of grip. Like I said, obviously running, I think, 12-10 wing around this venue, and up towards the line, a 17.2 puts us P10 for now. These new ground effects, low downforce cars even, I should say, are very, very quick though down the straight, so we might still be able to beat any times we've set prior on the older F1 games as we head out of the final corner. Obviously now into Q2 on a set of soft compound tyres. Want to be aiming to definitely be down into the 116s. It's still so weird hitting the red line, but just about avoid snagging the brakes down at the first corner. I think Sykes is currently fastest on a 16.5. Well, it is very high stakes, high commitment around the Temple of Speed at the moment. This first lap has felt pretty tidy though for the most part. Tiny mistake down in the second chicane, but it is really just about how much you can make up through the corners. Because obviously maybe every other car is pretty much limited to the same straight line speed. 16.9 only puts us P10. Right, 1 minute left then on the clock. We need to find just a little bit more here in Q2. We might still be safe, but yeah, down in P10 right on the cusp. I'm not confident at the moment as we make our way then out of the final corner. Let's just go pedal to the metal and try to find any more time we can. I could really do with a 9th gear here, but I tell you what, this lap has been fantastically hooked up as we head down in towards the final corner. I think we might be through anyway, but this is going to be a good improvement. Breaking at the 50 metre board, no, Charles Leclerc has just gone quicker, but I think we're about to push Hamilton then out in Q2 for the Italian Grand Prix up towards the line. It's going to be a 16.4. That's a very competitive lap time, and I think, yep, there we go, P3. Being funny though, 1 minute 16 to do 3.6 miles is kind of ridiculous, especially when you consider how slow speed some of the corners are around this venue, but can we look towards a 1 minute 15 here at the Temple of Speed? I don't see how there's another 4/10 on my Q2 lap, but we've got 2 runs at this, so I'm going to try and find anything else I possibly can. In towards the Parabolica though, this has been a pretty good lap so far. Charles Leclerc though, 16.4 is only good enough for 6th in Q3. So clearly the AI is still able to extract more time out of their cars. As out of the final corner we go. What is the time going to be? As a benchmark on the board, 16.5, and it's only good enough for P8. We need to find that little bit extra. This has got to be one of the weirdest qualifying sessions I've ever had, but we need, I mean, Perez, I think, down on a 16.1 at the moment, so if we want to try and be fighting for pole, we have got to be looking towards a 1 minute 15, but we know it'll become a race of slipstream come race day Sunday, even trying to give ourselves the shortest line towards that first corner, potentially over the bumps, but let's make this lap count. No. Lost 2 tenths down at the first chicane. Was trying to gather it all up. We found a tenth and lost it again. And I knew the only other place I'd be able to gain some was down into Ascari there. But one more corner to go. Lap's been invalidated, but we may as well just absolutely send it. There was definitely more time to be had there. And you know what? There was definitely 3.5, 4 more tenths on that lap. We could be getting a 1:15 round here, but it's not. It's a 16.5 and it's P8 on the grid. Well, there we are. Sergio Perez on pole position then with a 1:16.110 there. That is a ridiculous average speed around Monza. Verstappen just 27 thousandths away, though, ahead of Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon. But yeah, there was definitely at least 4 more tenths there. We could have been in the fight for pole. I reckon I get that lap nailed. There's a 1 minute 15 around here. But ifs and buts were coconuts. We're lining up P8 on the grid. Let's do this thing. Italian Grand Prix.
A difficult race awaits these drivers here in Monza, but glory awaits too at the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest track in Formula One. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some close action. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Albon, Gasly, Russell, Mr. Monaco, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Hamilton, Norris, Magnussen, De Vries, Stroll, Liam Lawson, Leclerc, Théo Pourchaire, Tsunoda, Bottas, Fittipaldi, Joe and Logan Sargent. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. The last few races have been a bit rough for them, unable to get a clean run. That's got to have some effect on their confidence, surely.
Certainly confidence is an important factor. And every time you're involved in an incident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
Right, well, here we are then on the grid, ready for the Italian GP. P7 then, by virtue of some grid penalties. But we know today it is time to make an impact here. Soft to medium is definitely going to be the strategy we're going to try and incorporate. Gink doesn't actually believe it's any quicker. But yeah, I want that extra bit of tyre grip as well. But yeah, the Temple of Speed often delivers some quite crazy racing. And I'm expecting it to be no different inside F123. It looks like we are one of the only cars on the set of soft compound tyres, but waiting on those 5 red lights. That is lights out, and away we go for the Italian Grand Prix there. George Russell, thank you very much. We'll immediately claim the place, but Oscar Piastri has got a pretty good run as well there. You can see Perez trying to defend from Sainz down in towards turn 1 as we have a look around the outside of our teammate. And the second race in a row, Verstappen has gone backwards off the start there. Wheel banging with the Dutchman off of the first couple of corners, but we are through and immediately up into P4 then. Perez trying to streak away at the front of the field, similar to what he did last weekend in Zandvoort, as Gasly now applying pressure to Carlos Sainz there. But yeah, quite a chaotic little start then here at Monza, but 3 places gained for ourselves, which is really, really good to see. Ferrari, I'm sure, want to be trying to fight for the win here. Charles Leclerc, though, taking some grid penalties, has left Sainz as their one car fighting towards the front of the roster as we make our way out onto the back straight. Though Verstappen, I'm sure, again, you know, just watching his teammates streak away at the front of the field must get so frustrating for the Dutchman at the moment. It's obviously giving me Hamilton versus Rosberg vibes in 2016 after Lewis had so many nightmare starts that season. Of course, we all know how that ended up being. Did you know Rosberg beat Lewis Hamilton in equal machinery? I certainly didn't until very, very recently there. But in towards the final corner, we have just about survived lap 1. We've made up 3 places as well. And now I think we've got to try and wait for the DRS to be unveiled. As Perez, he's going to be close. He's going to be right on the cusp of 1 second. Ahead of Carlos Sainz there is Gasly to the outside of the Ferrari. He goes to the inside of the Ferrari. And he's still behind the Ferrari there. As nice double lock up into towards turn 1. Blocked the rears and almost got spat left. Blocked the rears and almost spat right as well. But we gather it up and we're still in the fight. I mean, it really looks at the moment, maybe there's a 1 second gap behind Alex Albon ahead of the Alpine of Ocon. But yeah, it looks like pretty much everyone inside our top 7 is still going to be in the DRS range of each other here. As heading out the final corner, we are about to get confirmation that that DRS will be enabled, and that is going to unleash quite crazy racing then. Carlos Sainz, new fast lap of the day. The fact we're already pretty much matching Hamilton's pole time from 2020 in that ridiculous Mercedes. In race trim, remember, race trim full tank of fuel, goes to show how stupidly fast these cars are. Oh, a little bit of a wobble there. Verstappen is going to try and capitalise and move himself back into P4, but I'm not going to make it easy for the Dutchman as we make our way in towards the final corner. Stay with him, alongside him still, Marcus. Carlos Sainz, I'm sure the Tifosi are going to erupt into applause there as we go around the outside of Perez out of Parabolica. We're now side by side with Max. We head back down towards someone there. There is 227. And that is, whoa, the limiter. As we've been tagged around by Oscar Piastri as well. And another race where we just seem to lock the rears down at turn 1. That being said, though, I'm sure some of you probably a bit confused why I wasn't too worried about that mistake. I reckon we've still absolutely got pace to fight here as here comes Ocon. Or we try to move over, but not late enough. Or not early enough, sorry, I should say. But yeah, I'd actually forgot to alter my brake bias back from qualifying. You can run slightly more forward brake bias in qualifying there, because obviously you've got the tyre grip. So that's why we were struggling with the front locking, the rear locking even down at turn 1, because you have to put a bit more bias. You can run a more rearward bias in qualifying trim, just obviously because you've got the grip. You have to move it back more front facing when you get into the Grand Prix, is the correct way round. I was trying to make that statement. But anyway, we're back inside the DRS range of Albon. 4 seconds up to Verstappen though, but honestly looking at it, Perez, Verstappen, Gasly, all duking it out. They're probably going to cost each other a lot of time over the next few laps. It would not surprise me if Verstappen as well is probably going to get in that fight rather soon. So as long as we just keep ourselves to ourselves here, maybe try and drag Albon along with us. We've got yellow flags out. One of the Alfa Romeos breaking down. I think that might be Zhou Guan Yu. But yeah, round in the final corner of lap 5. Hopefully now this should be a pretty simple move on my teammate Alex Albon, as yeah, Alfa Romeo will not want that in their home Grand Prix. Disappointment for Zhou, but back on the red line again. Back around the outside of my teammate Alex Albon. You can see there, still struggling slightly with the rear locking, but now we can actually get the thing slowed down. Or not, apparently. That one I think I just tipped it in way too optimistically, but yeah, it's so difficult to try and get the balance right. I think Albon had a bit of a lock-up down at the final corner, because now we've got Ocon and Piastri all over my gearbox, so that's not too helpful. Don't have my teammate as a rear gunner anymore. But yeah, top three still battling out. I think Gasly now is actually taking the lead of the GP, but that gap's staying pretty level despite my few small errors. Whoa! Ocon? Did he just dive bomb me on the exit of Ascari? I know we ran a bit wide on the way in, but contact there with Esteban Ocon on the exit, and he's just spat me round. We've done a full pirouette, somehow kept it out of the wall, but was Ocon seriously looking for a gap there? Oh, Lando. Oh, he just broke earlier than I was expecting, and it was more just a case of trying to avoid damage. It was never really an attempted overtake on the McLaren, but he's going way too slowly off the corner there, so we'll have to have a look around the outside of him. And well, after a couple of fantastic races in Le Castellet in Belgium, I thought Zandvoort was going to be a bit of a one-off, and I'm hoping I can still prove it to be. Lots of side-by-side battling down in towards turn one, almost 3 wide, and now we should be able to see the gap come down a whole lot more as Albon there losing places as well. So are we both just really struggling in race trim here? You can see though, the gap to George back under a second. Yellow's out. Someone else has had issues. It's one of the Williams. So I think they've just looped it around and able to recover it. As here goes Russell down the inside of his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Almost into the back of my teammate Alex Albon there, but Hamilton will hang on. Both of them struggling to put the power down off the corner. Just look at the speed they've got though, despite that. We're going to try and have a look potentially for a move. 227. There goes George. Lewis down the middle. 3 wide as we head back down in towards turn 1. I've missed my braking point again. Just no front brakes. And oh, you can't even go through that properly, can you? We're going to try and get back on the road. We've lost the places again. I think I've still got a bit of front wing. Brake marker board even under the front wing. And yeah, just starting lap 10. I mean, Monza just feels so RNG now. Like, even more so with the upgraded cars than normal. It's just about when the AI do something stupid against each other, like Russell has again. As this time around, we'll go for an aggressive move down the inside. But yeah, racing around here kind of doesn't work very well anymore. It feels like the more upgraded the car is on F123, the more broken things become. Right, this time around though, let's try and get a move done on Lewis Hamilton. Don't think he's got the DRS, or if he does, he's right on the cusp. I think he was just outside the range. Yes, he is, so we should be able to get a run back down in towards the first corner. You go defensive, mate. I'll have the race in line this time round. Hopefully not get any dirt on my tyres, and we will just about get it slowed down there around the outside of Lewis. Charles Leclerc pulling off a similar move on Esteban Ocon off the exit of turn 2, and Albon now suddenly back up into P6 then of this GP. One of the Aston Martins, I would assume that's Piastri, has been able to break free as well, as somehow Perez now at the front of the field has broken through and really chopping off Esteban Ocon's nose. Maybe a bit of payback for Ascari. Here goes Leclerc though on Alex Albon as we head down in towards the Ascari chicane once again. Who's going to back out of this one? Neither of them by the looks of it. As these front tyres are really starting to hit the cliff. Not going to be long. Probably the end of the next lap we're going to try and dive in then. As are we going to see Verstappen try and get a bit closer to his teammate once again, or is he going to get stuck battling with Carlos Sainz and Pierre Gasly behind him? It's Gasly, for pretty much the first time in his Formula 1 career, won't be at the whim of Max Verstappen. Of course, has either been his teammate or been in the AlphaTauri / Toro Rosso. But here we go then. Got Albon trying to defend from Charles Leclerc. Do we have a look to the inside? No, we don't. Not quite brave enough to make it 3 wide into the braking zone as Leclerc goes right around my teammate. Can we try and switch him on the exit? We've just got no tyres left. We've absolutely taken everything out of this set of the softs, but hopefully it's going to allow us to get a bit of an undercut on the AI as Albon seemed to suddenly come off the throttle there. Had a mega run on him, and then suddenly he's got the speed. Why, Albon? I thought you were going to hit the apex and not stop. I was planning on slotting in behind. Got more yellows out. One of the Williams again having issues. But now Leclerc and Piastri are broken free. Right on the final corner though, about to peel into the pit lane then at just the end of lap 12. I would assume the AI probably going to go 2 or 3 laps longer. Oh, we just got that stopped. Just about on the way into the pit lane there as Hamilton Magnussen into the pits behind me. So clearly that was the right lap to be coming in off the set of the medium. The set of the softs. But yeah, we need a nice clean tidy stop here, which obviously we didn't get at Belgium a few weeks ago. There we go, 2.3. Things you love to see. Because hopefully we're going to climb in some clear air. Need to try and close up to Charles and Oscar again. Top 4 are gone. Unless either they battle out ridiculously, or we get a safety car here, but we're just going to come out ahead of Fittipaldi. Let's use this fresh grip. Here we go. Norris, Russell into the pit lane. Maybe our teammate Alex Albon as well, I think. He's heading back out. Yes. No, sorry, Charles Leclerc. Okay. I was going to say, how on earth did Albon been able to overcut me like that? But no, we're right out back then with Charlie boy here. So that's quite important for us as well for the second half of this race. Where is Piastri going to re-emerge? There we go. Pretty much all of the front runners into the pit lane then, with the exception of Sergio Perez. So not only is he leading this race, he's also able to take his tyres further than anyone else this afternoon as we head out of the final corner. Though I'm hoping now we should be able to get the jump on Charles Leclerc and Alex Albon. New fast lap of the day, 18.4, is again rather ridiculous, as yeah, Piastri's really lost out by trying to extend that first stint a little bit longer. The Aston Martin, though, will be ahead down at turn 1. And you know what? You don't actually have to hook it up around the outside of another car in towards turn 1 just after they've come out of the pit lane and not end up on top of them. But Piastri, though, going to try and defend as we head up in towards turn 4. Are we going to be able to get it slowed down around the outside? We know how much grip these tyres have got. Oscar's still in the sense of the unknown. And we are back to P5 then in this GP. Almost 10 seconds away from our trio battling for P2. Going to need a lot of things to go right in the second half of this race if we want to close up to them. But if they keep fighting, you never know. Oh, yellow's out. Someone's got issues. Is that Sainz? Is that Verstappen? Don't say it's one of the Red Bulls again. No, seems to have gone away. Bit odd. Definitely said yellow flags, but they're both good. I tell you what, 10 laps to go, and whatever that yellow flag was for, Verstappen and Sainz are now losing a little bit of time to me each and every lap. I need them to battle with each other, though. That would be nice. But the gap is still coming down in the right direction. Our second warning of the day. Don't want any more of those. Again, yellow's out. Oh, this time around, Carlos Sainz has gone. Carlos Sainz into the gravel trap then, so the Ferrari must have had a battle. And we got a safety car. Now we are in this fight. This fight is back on late on in the day here. Oh, it's so tempted to pit for softs, but I don't think it's worth it. And Sainz in the gravel trap has allowed us an opportunity here to still fight, at least for a podium, maybe for the win. Perez, I'm sure, is absolutely gutted with that. At least for Perez's sake, he did get ahead of the safety car, so that means one less racing lap for him to have to deal with. But yeah, safety car out here, and we are up to P4. Come on. 5 racing laps to go, and the pressure now is on Sergio Perez's shoulder. This might have been the other reason why I wasn't too worried about those mistakes early on. Monza, for whatever reason, on this game seems to breed late race safety cars, and now we've been given a lifeline. We have been given a chance. Perez, I'm sure, is going to want to try and romp away. Gasly, of course, has won around this place as well before, so I'm sure he'd love to try and get a second win and a first for himself at Alpine. But Perez then getting ready to go out the final corner. Hopefully we're going to be able to time it well. Not perfectly, to be honest, but we're going to try and stay on the battery and apply pressure to our reigning world champion Max Verstappen as we head back down towards Salmon. Verstappen, though, to the outside of Gasly. That's not really going to leave us much with anything we can do in towards that first corner, and Verstappen, I think, is going to try and get him there. We have to give Oscar Piastri a bit of room. My original plan was to switch these two in front of me, which we're just going to be able to do. Verstappen gets around the outside of Pierre there. We're going to try and get round him as we head through Curva Grande off this restart. Are we going to be able to complete a Grande move? Just worried about where Verstappen was going to break there into the next chicane, but we are through and up into P3, and any hope Gasly had of a race victory here are probably now gone almost in an instant there. Just has not got the straight line speed, has not got the performance of this car or the Red Bull. But Verstappen, he's in hot pursuit of his teammate here. He hasn't had a chance to see him pretty much since the race start. I'm sure he'd love to get back to him before this race ends, but we just need to make sure we stay in the DRS of the Dutchman. And also, remember, we have got no more warnings. It is honestly like trying to race the real-life Red Bulls at the moment. You just cannot get anywhere near them. So make our way down in towards the final corner. Oscar Piastri there trying to line up a move on myself. But yeah, Perez now 4 seconds in the lead. As you can see, we're using too much battery each lap just to try and hang with them, but Verstappen 2.2 seconds clear on myself. We might just have to try and consolidate a P3. Just can't hang with them through the corners as we've got yellow flags out. Behind, oh, there's one of the Mercs. I think that might be Russell falling to the wayside here late on in the afternoon. Don't pick up a warning, that was scary. Just tipped it in and prayed there, basically, but that's moved Leclerc back up to P5 then, right towards the end of the day. There's been more cars stopping. Bottas now out of the Grand Prix, so I reckon that Merc's got a puncture, and Bottas has had a mechanical failure then, but 2 laps to go. Don't get a penalty, don't get a penalty, don't get a penalty. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to have to try and lock down this P3, I feel. It's actually Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes that has pulled off to the inside of the circuit off of Ascari, but Red Bull absolutely have this thing under wraps at the moment. Perez able to keep his teammate Verstappen at bay, and I really did wonder whether Perez was going to be in trouble. He's practically dominated this entire afternoon, similar to what he did last weekend out at Zandvoort, and just wonder whether this late race safety car would really change things up for him. But yeah, he just took the lead again. Well, he stayed in the lead, of course, and just hung on down in towards the first couple of corners, watched the cars behind him duke it out, and just built up the gap he needed, that little margin of safety. And Sergio Perez really does look like a changed man as we finish off the European leg of this campaign. I can't help but feel like we could have got between those Red Bulls come the checkered flag today, but yeah, my optimism about potentially fighting for a win, I think, is just a little bit too much. Red Bull, whoa, just a bit too fast overall at the moment, and the problem is, we've done all the aero upgrades, we've done all the chassis upgrades. The only thing I'm waiting for still are the power unit upgrades from Red Bull themselves, so are they keeping some upgrades back just for their cars then, not allowing us to compete with them, just keeping it at certain arm's length? It might mean, as we head into Season 4, we're going to have to look at a different engine supplier for the first time in this game. But round in the final few corners of the Italian Grand Prix, it has been a roller coaster of emotions as always. The Temple of Speed continues to deliver drama, and it looks like that drama's not over yet. Oscar Piastri to the outside of me will drain the battery down in towards the final corner, and Oscar Piastri, has he just mugged me off? He has! Oscar Piastri there, no, he's got wheel spin. We're going to be drag racing up towards the line. Who's going to get it wheel to wheel with the Aston Martin? I think we've hung on.
Yes, great drive, great drive. Everyone here is really happy with that performance. Well done, mate.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team. So let's review the updated driver standings. A result that will make Sergio Perez happy as he pushes his championship lead out even further. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Well, you can't fault anything that Sergio Perez did out on the track today. He drove flawlessly, making him an easy pick.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
I don't know how many times I've heard on this game Crofty use that outro, but I cannot stand the way he says all the excitement. It just really sets shivers down my spine. But anyway, Perez, though, is our Grand Prix victor here today. 2.4 seconds clear of his teammate Max Verstappen, and once again will continue to open up that championship lead. 4 thousandths of a second between myself and Oscar Piastri, though, come the checkered flag. That, I think, is probably the closest finish I'll ever get on F123 there. Gasly, I'm sure, a bit gutted with P5 in the end ahead of Leclerc, Sainz, Ocon, our teammate Albon, and George Russell there. It was a weird weekend where it felt like the car didn't quite have the pace, but certainly was in the fight there, and Russell will round out our top 10 there. Both Alfa Romeos and Hamilton, the only ones not to see it through to the checkered flag. But that means a 35-point lead now has been opened up at the top of the table for Sergio Perez. Verstappen, of course, still in P2 ahead of Russell and Charles Leclerc there, as we're closing in slowly but surely on Hamilton and Carlos Sainz. A 20-point lead now over my teammate Alex Albon as we head in towards the flyaway season. Constructors-wise, the Red Bull 200 still clear of Mercedes. Ferrari have cut down that gap quite a lot once again there, as we're still sat 91 back behind the Maranello-based squad there. Pretty much in no man's land now, ahead of Aston Martin behind Ferrari. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very, very soon. Tomorrow, in fact, ready for the Singapore Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss that.